Very good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News here on TV1. You're joining me, David Paldano. Now, before we head into your stories in more detail, let's first take a look at your headlines this afternoon. Cabinet approval granted to hand over the West Container Terminal to the Adani Group. COVID-19 victims to be buried in the Iranativu Island. The government believes that Sri Lanka will receive the support of India at the UNHRC on the resolutions against the country. A risk of those who obtain the COVID-19 vaccine being infected.
අපේ රට බ්‍රිතාන්‍ය අධිරාජ්‍යයට ලියා දුන්නා.
Meanwhile, the Cabinet of Ministers granted approval for the proposal to develop the West Container Terminal of the Colombo port on a build, operate and transfer basis for a period of 35 years as a public-private partnership with Adani Ports and a Special Economic Zone Limited. In a document issued by the Department of Government Information on the 1st of February 2021, the government approved to develop the West Container Terminal of the Colombo South Port as a public-private limited company in collaboration with the Sri Lanka Ports Authority and parties nominated by the Indian and Japanese government. The Department of Government Information further said the build, operate and transfer plan approved by the Negotiations Committee has been forwarded to the High Commission of India and the Embassy of Japan, requesting them to nominate investors. Its local representatives will be John Keel's Holding PLC and Sri Lanka Ports Authority.
දැනගන්න කැමති මේ බටහිර පර්යාය සම්බන්ධයෙන් එහි ආයෝජන සලස්ම අනුව අලුතෙන්ම කොහොමද බෙදී යන්නේ කියලා ඉවරලා එහි අයිතිය බෙදී යන්නේ වරාය අධිකාරියට කොපමණ කොටසක් අයිති වෙනවද ඒ වගේම අදානි සමාගමට සහ ජෝන් කීල් සායතනෙට කොයි ආකාරයකට බෙදී යන්නේ කියලා.
අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා ඒ සම්බන්ධව නෙගෝෂিয়েට් කරන්න වෙනම කමිටි එකක් දාලා තියෙනවා මේ සම්බන්ධව සාකච්ඡා කරලා ලබා ගන්නට.
We hope to negotiate on that matter. A separate committee has been appointed for that. However, it will be operated under the themes of partnership and as a BOT. A cabinet-appointed negotiation committee has been appointed for that. Accordingly, we will inform you about it in the future.
The appointed negotiating committee එකක් පත් කරනවා. ඒ අනුව ඒක ඉදිරියේදී අපි දැනුම් දෙමු.
කොළඹ වරායේ නැගෙනහිර පර්යන්තයේ ඉන්දියාව හෝ ඉන්දියාව හා සම්බන්ධ සමාගමකට දීමට එරෙහිව
We saw how the labor unions and port trade unions protested against the handing over of the East Container Terminal to India or to an Indian company. As a positive result, the decision to hand over the East Container Terminal to India was changed. However, now information has come to light regarding the transfer of the West Container Terminal to India and that ownership will be given to the Adani Group. If 85% of the ownership is given to them, we will lose 85% of the profit. That company that has 85% of the ownership will have a lot of control. It's clear that our sovereignty has been betrayed through the deal centering the West Container Terminal. Those in the
මෙයට රජයේ වගේ උත්තර දිය යුතුයි.
We would like to apologize for that technical difficulty we experienced a while ago. Let's taking a look at that story again. The 2nd of March is a historic day for all Sri Lankans as 206 years have passed since the betrayal of our country's independence.
On the 2nd of March 1815, exactly 206 years ago today, the Candian aristocracy ceded our country to the British Empire via a treaty. The nation was under the yoke of the British thereafter. The common people of this country had to suffer the consequences of the betrayal carried out by the aristocracy, and it was the ordinary people who had to sacrifice their lives for 130 years in many struggles to overcome the powerful grip on the nation and gain independence. The common man paid with their lives in the first battle for independence, the Battle of Vellassa in 1818. Just minutes before the signing of the agreement on the 2nd of March 1815, the Mahasangha showcased the pride and dignity of Sri Lanka by lowering the flag of the invaders and hoisting the lion flag again. Venerable Varyapola Sri Sumangala Thera was the pioneer of this bravery. In all these struggles, when the aristocracy betrayed the country, the most revered Mahasangha and the common people of this country who lived for the freedom and sovereignty of our motherland should be commemorated for their bravery today.
Now on to one of your headline-making stories. Cabinet spokesperson Minister Kehelia Rambukwala said that the Iranativu Island was identified as a site to bury those who die of COVID-19. The minister made this statement addressing the cabinet media briefing held this morning. Meanwhile, 303 COVID-19 cases were reported in Sri Lanka yesterday, increasing the total number of cases in the country to 83,546. 475 infected patients recovered from the virus yesterday, increasing the total recoveries in the country to 79,422. 5 COVID-19 deaths were reported yesterday. Accordingly, the total number of COVID-19 deaths in the country now stand at 476. Meanwhile, a risk of contracting COVID-19 after receiving the vaccination has emerged. State Minister of Primary Health Care, Epidemics and COVID-19 Disease Control, Dr. Sudarshini Fernandez-Pillay said that information has come to light regarding a few people who were inoculated while contracting the virus.
Following the first dose, it takes around 3 weeks for the antibodies to work, so it is possible to contract the disease within that time frame. Also, 62% have coverage after the first dose, so even after the others take the vaccine, they may contract the disease. Only a very small number of people have reported to be positive after taking the first dose of the vaccine. This is not a significant number in any way.
State Minister Dr. Sudarshini Fernandez-Pillay commented on the process that needed to be followed to get inoculated.
Contact your local MOH officer and obtain the information relevant to the Gram Military Division. Everyone can obtain the vaccine from their relevant centre. Even those who are boarded or are not permanent residents can still obtain the vaccine through the Gram Military. It is important to note that even after you get vaccinated, you must continue to wear a mask and adhere to social distancing and gathering guidelines. The Gram Military with the highest number of cases will receive priority in the vaccination process. However, everyone will receive the vaccine systematically. So we want to tell the public to remain patient in this process.
Meanwhile, according to the World Health Organization, the number of new coronavirus infections globally rose last week for the first time in 7 weeks.
Tedros Adhanom, Director General of the World Health Organization, told a briefing in Geneva that the increase in cases was, quote, disappointing but not surprising, unquote, noting that the upward trend was taking place everywhere in the world apart from Africa and the Western Pacific region.
In the past week, the number of reported cases of COVID-19 increased for the first time in 7 weeks. You remember that I reported the virus was on a decline for consecutive 6 weeks. This is disappointing, but not surprising. We're working to better understand these increases in transmission. Some of it appears to be due to relaxing of public health measures, continued circulation of variants, and people letting down their guard.
Tedros noted that Ghana and Ivory Coast became the first countries yesterday to begin vaccinating people with doses supplied by COVAX, the international program to provide vaccines for poor and middle-income countries. However, he also criticized rich countries for hoarding vaccine doses, saying that it was in everyone's interest for vulnerable people to be protected around the world.
Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire started vaccinating health workers against COVID-19, becoming the first countries to start vaccination campaigns with doses supplied through COVAX. It's encouraging to see health workers in lower income countries starting to be vaccinated. But it's regrettable that this comes almost 3 months after some of the wealthiest countries started their vaccination campaigns. And it's regrettable that some countries continue to prioritize vaccinating younger, healthier adults at lower risk of disease in their own populations ahead of health workers and older people elsewhere.
Save Rambakan Noya.
Another leg of the Gammada Pradesh Mandapaya, organized by Newsfirst, centering the issues faced by the rural folk, will take place in Ramakanoya in Ampara today. The Gammada Pradesh Mandapaya will take place today at 3 p.m. on the bunt of the Rambakan Oya with participants of officials from the Forest Conservation Department, Wildlife Department, Mahaveli Authority and the Agrarian Department. The Gammada Pradesh Mandapaya will focus on the areas and the issues of residents who stay there, including the environmental destruction that took place in the Rambakan Oya recently. Meanwhile, a significant amount of project funds is being used for road development. However, will the tax-paying people of this country be benefited from these projects? This is the story of residents of Vaddegala who deal with this risk on a daily basis.
This is the village of Eastern Vaddegala, which is located at the foot of the Singharaja forest. The only way into the village is across the Vaddegala river. There is no bridge here and the people cannot remain imprisoned in the village. There is no other option but to take the risky route. The villagers depend on the Vaddegala river on a daily basis. On days with heavy rain, when the water level rises, children have no way of travelling to school.
Although they have been saying that they will construct a bridge here, they have not done anything about it. Children have no way of travelling to school. Only the foundation of the bridge has been constructed. There are no signs of anything beyond that happening. When the river overflows, our children cannot go to school. We cannot even go to get medicine or food. During times when it continues for days, we have to wait until the water level comes down. When this breaks again, we have to set aside a few days and collect some money, build a raft and manage our travels.
Their only request is to construct a bridge for the village.
Today marks the 27th anniversary of Sirasa FM, which marked a new dimension in the annals of Sri Lankan radio.
Sirasa FM.
Sirasa FM 27th anniversary celebrations.
The celebrations were held in Deparnama with the participation of several dignitaries, including senior members of the Capital Maharaja Group and the staff of Sirasa FM. Sirasa FM, which rewarded its listeners with 5,000 rupees hourly for the first time in radio history, will be providing a cash reward to its listeners every 15 minutes. Renovation of Dhamma School buildings commenced today as the second phase of the Gamai Pansalai Sirasa Radio Y program. In addition, a large number of electrical appliances were awarded to the winners of Sirasa FM competitions today.
COVID-19 is a challenge for all, but Sirius FM, as your friend and neighbor, can understand the difficulties you face because of this pandemic. We are proud to announce that we will reward you with gold. I take this opportunity to appreciate the service rendered by all sponsors during our 27 years of excellence. We believe that the human resource is our biggest asset at the Capital Maharaja Group. Our listeners made Sirius FM #1 today, and I thank you.
We are starting the SPL Sirasa Premier League. This is the first time a media organization is organizing a Premier League tournament. Our main objective is to introduce the talented sportsmen in rural Sri Lanka to the international community where they will be recognized. Our listeners are the ones who give us the strength to always keep moving forward.
Minister Kelia Rambukwala expressed confidence today that India will not go to the side of injustice in the human rights issue against Sri Lanka. Many countries, including China and Russia, have expressed support for Sri Lanka. Cabinet spokesperson Minister Kelia Rambukwala further stated that he strongly condemns the proposal of the UN Commissioner for Human Rights. Meanwhile, in line with the 70th anniversary of the Sri Lanka Air Force, 7,757 of its members have been promoted. The 70th anniversary will be celebrated with 467 officers and 7,290 other ranked being promoted. The highlight of the celebration is a special air show in collaboration with the Indian Air Force that will be held from tomorrow until the 5th of March from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the golf face green.
We respectfully like to pay my respect to all the personnel who has worked for the last 70 years and who has made the supreme sacrifice to maintain the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Sri Lanka. With the 70th anniversary, we have planned for a couple of activities. It started today. Today we had the Air Force Parade at Katunayake Air Force Camp, and followed by we have air show is planned at Golf Face Greens on 3rd, 4th and 5th of this month. And on 5th March, we have the color parade, and the colors will be awarded by His Excellency the President to two squadrons, that is number 5 Jet Squadron and number 6 Helicopter Squadron. In parallel to that, we have done a lot of social activities, especially Kanugaswa project. It's a rural village given to us by the President for the development. And in the short-term plan, we have developed about 13 houses, the school, the temple, and some other social areas developed, and it's already completed, and we are trying to hand it over during this month to the villagers.
Police have launched investigations with regard to a video that is circulating via social media containing footage of a brutal assault on an infant. Police spokesperson DIG Ajit Rohana said following investigations, police were able to arrest a woman related to the incident.
According to DIG Ajit Rohana, the police officers who visited the location this morning found the infant, who is 9 months old, and the mother, who is 24 years old. The woman was arrested by Jaffna police, and the baby was taken into police custody to ensure he is taken care of in the future.
There is a tendency of increasing child harassment, cruelty to children, and other offences related to children, discrimination. We are taking a stern action against the perpetrators, including the parents, if they don't treat their children properly. Apart from that, territorial police divisions have been informed to take a stern action against the perpetrators in respect of the offences of this nature.
Now on to international news. The Biden administration has defended its decision not to apply sanctions on Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman for the 2018 killing of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. State Department spokesperson